In this brief video presentation, I'd like to describe for you the SciPhD online self-assessment tool, how it works, and how it can benefit you as you transition from an academic to an industry career. The SciPhD training program is based on the identification of 24 core competencies that are highly valued by industry, particularly for entry-level positions. These 24 competencies are grouped into 6 major areas shown here: creating the vision, developing people, execution, achieving results, communications, and financial acumen. This online assessment is actually more like a mini business course that will teach you each of these 24 competencies, relate them to your own experiences as a scientist throughout your career, and also teach you how they are important and how they impact industry. The truth is that in most academic programs, business skills are rarely taught, despite the fact that it is these business skills that are often the differentiator when businesses are selecting from many highly skilled and scientifically qualified candidates. So it's our hope that by you understanding these core competencies that are highly valued and how they relate to your own experiences into industry, you can make a compelling case as to why you're the best candidate for a job. For each of these areas, you'll first be given a screen with an audio description of this competency area, what it is, how all the individual competencies relate to that area, and why they're important in industry. Then you'll be taken through each of the competencies individually. There will be an audio component that you can listen to as many times as you like that'll teach you what the competency is, how it relates to typical experiences you've had as a scientist, oftentimes giving you examples to help you to understand that. And then once you understand that, you'll be asked to create an experience statement. And this is typically 2 to 3 sentences of specific experiences that you have had that demonstrate your competency in this area. This will be coupled with your giving yourself a score, ranking your ability from a 1 to a 5, a 1 being not very competent at all, to a 5 being that you feel very, very comfortable with this particular competency, and you can give good examples to back it up. You'll be taken through each of these sections one at a time. You can spend as much time as each section as you want. The system will allow you to review each section before you move on to the next one. So I would encourage you to take your time, learn these competencies in this mini business course that you're taking, and then refine your answers so that you get the maximum value out of this. At the end of each section, you'll have the opportunity, as I mentioned, to review the section by clicking on this button. You can also log out of the system at any time, and the software will remember where you left off, so it'll bring you back when you come back. So take your time when going through this course so you do a really, really good job. Part of the value of this is when you're done, these experience statements and your scores can be used as your resource, your toolbox of resources that you then draw on in developing targeted resumes, figuring out what kinds of jobs you really match up well against, and then developing your attack plan for talking points for interviews, cover letters, and resumes that demonstrate why you're the best candidate for that job, not only with regard to your scientific skills, but also with regard to these business skills, which actually are in the job ad, and I'll show you that in a minute. So when you're done with all 6 areas and all 24 competencies, you'll get to this final screen, and you'll see at the bottom that you can generate your report. And the system will generate for you a final report that will summarize and detail all 24 of the competencies in the 6 major areas, give you a summary score, an average score for each of the 6 areas, and also capture your experience statements for the areas where you had good skills by your own assessment. It'll also provide you with a visual representation, a graphical representation of how your scores fit and how well you fit for different kinds of jobs in different kinds of companies. And that's done visually by demonstrating the kinds of positions or companies in columns and the specific competencies that are critical for specific positions are colored red. and the highly desirable ones are colored blue. Your own scores based on your self-assessment are reflected by asterisks, with 2 asterisks being the highest scores and 1 asterisk being very high scores, but not maximal. So what you can visually see, so for example, give you an example, here's Dr. Naveen Shah took this self-assessment. And you can see from the summary page, which I've condensed onto this one screen here, that Dr. Shaw did very, very well in both execution and achieving results, with average scores of 4.2 and 4.3 for each of those. So in getting things done, she seems to be very, very competent. She did less well in the people skills, the developing people. She got a 2.5. The communications, which is your ability to relate to different kinds of people, she got a 2.5. And in financial skills, she got a 1, which means she's not very familiar with these, which, by the way, is a very common result for a lot of academic scientists. So what Dr. Shaw knows from this is now, in looking at how she fits in the visual mapping, she may have a reasonable chance at a research position or an operations position where the critical skills she matches up with. But even having said that, it looks like Dr. Shaw is going to have to do some work on financial acumen as well as communications and creating the vision, depending upon which job she wants to go after. So this kind of information is not only good in seeing how well you fit for your current job you want to go after, but also in short-term and long-term career planning to figure out what's the kind of additional training you're going to have to seek out in order to be successful in the kind of jobs that you want to go after. For example, when you look at a job ad, shown here on the left is a job ad for a scientist. What we've done is we've colored the scientific skills in orange. These are the ones that most postdocs typically focus on, exclusively actually. But in addition, we've colored the business skills in yellow and the social skills, the developing people and communication skills that they refer to, in purple. And all these skills, we can teach you how to map these skills to our 24 competencies, which are shown on the right in our business competency matrix, which is available on our website. And if you combine that mapping, which we can teach you how to do, with your own self-assessment scores, you can now see that for this particular position, this candidate's particularly well suited. The skills that are highlighted in the job ad match up with a lot of 5s and 4s with regard to their competency. So this candidate should be particularly excited about this and then would leverage their own experience statements to develop a targeted resume that demonstrates not only their scientific skills, but also their business skills. So rather than having your typical scientific CV, which is shown here on the left, which is all science, all your scientific skills and your scientific training, you develop a resume that has a career summary or a summary of qualifications that combines both the scientific and business skills, because in fact it is that combination of skills that are going to differentiate you from all those other scientists that you're competing against. And we have other programs. SciPhD has additional programs and products and services that can help you in that regard. The self-assessment is the first step. And then we also have services you can find out. Just click on the Get That Job link on our website to find out about all the other services we have that can help you in deciphering job ads, mapping them to our competency matrix, and developing a compelling cover letter and targeted resumes, as well as being best prepared for interviews. So thank you for listening. Take your time in going through our mini business course and self-assessment, and good luck in your career search. Thanks again.